Thank you so much, Jean Sue, for joining us. Could you introduce yourself and your organizations that you partner with?
Fossil fuel companies go there. They finance the actual conference. They take government officials out for dinners. They fly them over. This is very much a space where they are actually getting their own business off of it, as well as securing their own profits from this conference. We also know that fossil fuel companies have such great influence over the UN climate change negotiations because nowhere in the framework and in the Paris Agreement are the words fossil fuels. If you can just sit with that for a moment, that all these countries have come together to solve the climate emergency, yet nobody has any commitment to phasing out fossil fuels, which is causing the vast majority of our climate crisis. So that alone shows how vast the fossil fuel industry's influence has been on government officials. And that's exactly why they should not be allowed into these conferences. And we need a very clean slate for actual negotiations to happen.
That despite the difficulties and the challenges of our times, the divergence of views of their suffering will finally be addressed swiftly and appropriately. Excellencies, dear friends,
We're hitting a point now where we need to phase out all oil and gas as fast as possible. Having companies and corporations that profit off of oil and gas is the absolute opposite of that, and we need to get the fox away from our hen house here.
Yes, we can hold one of these. We're representing millions of people who are demanding that polluters be kicked out of the COP space. Yeah. Polluters out! People in! They want their profit at all costs, at the expense of our people and our lives. But today we are saying polluters out! People in! Polluters out! People in! Great. It's time that we kick them out. It's time to do what? Kick them out! It's time to do what? Kick them out!
For too long, this industry has been viewed as part of the problem that is not doing enough, and in some cases, even blocking progress. This is your opportunity to show the world that, in fact, you are central to the solution.
We are choking on their fumes, and we are suffering from the increased heat, and we are fearing for our future and present. We cannot trust these politicians, and we cannot trust the processes of the COPs, because the fossil fuel industries are tightening their grip around their processes and dictating their outcomes.
Fossil fuels are still a big part of the global economy, right? And if we were to try to unplug them overnight, we'd have some really dire consequences. So fossil fuel companies, we're not one, but we recognize they need to be part of the transition, and therefore they need to be part of the transition discussion.
Teresa, I'm actually going to head over to the Capitol Grill because I want to make sure I'm there in time. I'm sorry that you can't.
Yes, yes.
After Copenhagen, where that didn't work well.
In fact, that's where I first met Sultan al-Jaber. If we deal with the fossil fuel industry as people who only come to COPs to lobby for their interest, then you don't make them accountable for what they're doing. We believe that the oil and gas industry needs to be part of the climate equation, come to the table and be accountable for what it's doing in the public space. If we didn't have the Kyoto Protocol, if we hadn't had the decisions we've taken along the way, I think that if they are on board and they understand their responsibilities and they have the public scrutiny, they will understand that they need to move much faster than they've been moving.